It's one thing I see how families are affected by an imminent death. Sometimes it blows families apart, and lots of issues come up, people dealing with their own difficulty with facing death, their own death as opposed to the death of the person who's dying. In our case, the family came together, and Angie actually joked almost remorsefully that, you know, is this what it takes to get you guys to come to Canberra? Because everybody was here. We all came together. We were, you know, in this not big house. Yes, there was people sleeping on the floor and everybody was right around her. And that was immensely important.
Doug was still able to get up and move and do all those things here. They were slower, but it didn't involve me having to do that much. When Doug finally got ill, and he went to Clare Holland House, which is a hospice, and so the caring then went on from there.
There's no way on earth I could have done any of it without all that support. There's just no way. I wouldn't have coped. I would not have coped. Yeah, I needed all of them. I needed them to be there. I needed to know that they were there. I couldn't have done it without them.
It did feel like we were really coming together, like we were, you know, sort of all behind Mum.
And then this great community came around us. We have the school community, Kieran's school community. You'd open the door and there'd be a three-course meal sitting in front of the door.
It's quite incredible.
It was difficult with Mark not being in Canberra, but Mark found it difficult. He found it very hard to leave Mum. Every time he visited, he found it too hard going home. And then one day he just called me, crying down the phone. He'd just left, he'd just gone back. And he cried and he goes, I can't do it, Anne. I have to come back to Canberra. He said, I have to be there. So he did. He moved in with Mum.
Well, I think sometimes you just get so overcome with it all that you can't think straight. And then you do need somebody outside or, you know, inside the house or the family to just tell you which way to go. And that's what my girls do.
The barriers that had been stopping us communicating for so many years were gone in an instant. You know, it'd all been forgotten. It didn't exist anymore. Suddenly we were brother and sister who had to look after their dying mum. And it was Mum's wish. We both knew we just had to be there for Mum. It wasn't about anything else anymore, or anything that had gone in the past or anything else. It was about Mum and doing everything we possibly could to make this as good for Mum as we possibly could. I do other things in my life as well, which probably sounds mean when my mum was dying, but I still had to earn money, I still had to work, I still had children, and I still wanted to have part of that as part of Mum, but with Mark there, I could be so much more and do so much more.
We supported each other, definitely, but like you said, the whole community really came around us, and I did feel like we were very supported by many people during that time, not just by the immediate family.
She was never alone at all. She still slept in her bed. So at one point Emma was on the floor at the bottom of her bed, and Mark and I were on the bed with Mum, and then Mark went out to go on the sofa, and me and Em would be on the bed with Mum. So there was always someone on the bed cuddling Mum and making sure she was all right. So she was never alone, never ever alone. She was surrounded by love the whole time.